One lesson that I wished earlier on was that never trust what people say. Instead, watch what they do. I would have saved a lot of disappointment and heartbreak along the way. I remember a time where I was constantly setting up the dates, and I was the one kind of making the effort. And it sucked, you know? It would have saved me a lot of time if I knew this at the very start. That you really can't trust what people say in the end. I understand in the earlier days, when you meet somebody new, you can only take their word for it. But time will tell if their words match their action. And most of the time, it doesn't. You know, if they are being serious and want to take you serious, then they'll make the effort. But if they don't, then they probably won't. And that's been a realization as well. Is when somebody's words don't match their action, you need to be careful and be very observant. And I think it would have saved me a lot of time and effort if I would have applied this to everything, not just women, but jobs, friendships, to never really trust and go off of somebody's words. Someone can ultimately say anything they want, promise you anything, but in the end, can they give you what they said? You know, a great example I like is politicians, right? When somebody gets politically elected, they promise you these things. I'm going to do this to the city, I'm going to lower taxes, I'm going to do that. But how many times do you actually see them doing it? Never. How many times have you called up a mate and be like, yo, we're going to meet up at this time, but he's not turned up? So it's one of those things where if they do turn up on the time and they have a consistent schedule where they're able to meet you, then that's a good person. But if they don't, if they make up the plans and don't turn up, then their actions don't match their words. And when it comes to relationships, the same thing applies. At the very start, man or woman can promise you so many things. How many times has a girl said to you, oh, I promise you this, that we're going to go out, we're going to make effort, we're going to get married, we're going to do this, we're going to go on holiday, and it doesn't happen. It just wastes a lot of time. It wastes your time. And it's something that you kind of learn, that you can't judge people based on their words. You can only judge them on what they do. I would say actions are actually more important than words, essentially. And that's always been quite interesting for me. Definitely a reminder, you know, that you can only really kind of judge them by their actions. Somebody can promise you 1,000 things and only deliver one. And if one's enough, that might be enough for some people. But at the start, don't promise them all these things if you can't deliver. So, it's been interesting, to be honest with you, how we live in a world where there's a wasp. We promise people so many things, but we can't deliver. Don't promise different things to people if you can't deliver. Check out this statue. Man, I got bugs all over me today. Hold up. So yeah, at the very start, if you do start seeing someone, just make sure they're not the type of people to promise you different hundreds of things. It's quite interesting. I'm gonna walk back the way. My hand's starting to hurt, but yeah. I remember kind of in my early days when I was like 20, 21, and I was speaking to this one girl, and I had to kind of set up a date and speak to her, where we're gonna meet, how we're gonna do it, where do you want to go, and so on. And I was kind of setting up the dates, and I was, you know, it was going pretty well, but then last minute she would cancel, and it made me think, how serious was she at the very start? If I was to do it now, I would do it much differently. I would just set up the date straight away and be like, listen, we're gonna meet up here. And if she is serious, she will turn up. And that's the same thing that goes for friendships as well. 9 times out of 10, if they turn up, that's what counts. And if they don't, well then, that just shows them that they're not committed. They're not taking it serious. How much do they value the relationship? So, yeah, man, it's really nice out here, but it's quite windy. Man, these bugs are eating me alive, but I wanted to mention a few things. The takeaway from this is, don't always trust people's words. I got bugs. Instead, look at their actions. Don't trust what they say, but instead what they do. Look at their actions and see if it matches their words. And if it doesn't, you know how much value they put into it. So that's kind of the takeaway from this video. Is don't trust people's words, trust their actions. And if you started seeing someone new, make sure at the very start you take action and see if it values. See if their words match their actions, guys. Don't just take words for literally everything that they promised you. You know, I could promise them 1,000 things to someone and it'd be so easy. So, you know, don't always take everything literally, word for word. Can you imagine if we did that? Can you imagine if we did that? If we took everything word for word, it'd be a disaster. So, that's the end of the video, guys. If you liked it, leave a like. Comment what you think. How important are words mixed with actions? Do you take words more serious, or do you take actions more serious? I'm going to enjoy the rest of this walk and check out this place. See you later.